Hey guys, we just got to the King of the Creek tournament in Strabane, PA, and they're gonna bowl 3 games and cut to the
Top 16.
top 16.
We're going to be bowling on I believe it's a modified or just a house shot, modified house shot. And supposedly it's like a lighter to medium oil, but they claim with 8 to 10 guys on a lane, since there's I think 8 lanes in here, so it's pretty small. But given that it's a smaller house and a higher volume of people, the lanes tend to break down a little faster. So when you get into the top 16, the lanes tend to be a little bit drier. Here's a practice shot from the SNPJ tournament. In practice, I really only have 2 goals. One is just to get loosened up, and the other is to find the right ball so that I can strike. I chose to start with the Storm Intense Fire because of the overall shape. It's relatively smooth when it reads the friction, and it doesn't overreact, like I said, when it sees the friction. So that was the logical choice behind that decision. This is actually the second shot of the tournament in the second frame, and off my hand I really like the shot because I tried to roll it a little bit more so that it wouldn't overreact to the friction. And as you can see, because I rolled the ball, it didn't quite continue through the pin, so I left a weak 7 pin. And here comes my second spare attempt of the evening, and I had a bad feeling about my spare shooting from here forward. My main focus on this shot was to just relax, not overthrow the ball, and roll it to the friction so that the ball would pick up, read, and roll through the pins. After this not so good first shot, I just really wanted to make sure that I made my spare so that I could get a second look at the 10th frame in case I had to bowl on that pair again. So I really just wanted to make sure that I converted the spare. Then I went back to the bag and grabbed a Storm High Road Pearl with a little bit of surface on it. I knocked the shine off just so that it didn't overreact when it saw the friction with all the polish on it, and so that it would read if it was in the oil a little bit more. And as you can see, I really threw this ball bad and hit all over it, and when the ball got to the pins, it weak 10'd. So not a bad look for absolutely murdering the ball at the bottom. Here was my first shot attempt in the second game of the first frame. I heard a couple guys talking about this pair, so and I watched the first couple of people before me, and their ball didn't seem to overreact, so I just stayed in the same place that I finished and continued with the Intense Fire. I came back for my third shot in the third frame of the second game here, and threw what I thought was a pretty good shot, but apparently I grabbed it a little bit too much and went through the nose for a 10 pin. Overall, I bowled a pretty good game, shot 226, and missed another single pin. Now this pair was an absolute atrocious, and I really tried throwing the Intense Fire, I tried throwing the High Road Pearl, but I just couldn't get my angles open enough to shape the ball the right way. I did struggle with that throughout the night, was my hip position angled towards my intended target. So the only way for me to get my ball down the lane was to pick a ball in my bag that got down the lane without having to force it. And for me, that was the winner. And at this point, going up to shoot this spare, my only thought was, don't miss the spare. And I made it. After making a couple really good shots, after making the ball change, I made a hand position change, and then I came up to make the shot and thought, just get it to the friction and let it blend. And it saw the friction and overreacted, of course, because I didn't see that the other couple shots. And getting 0 did not help at all. So I ended up that game with a 187, which gave me a 615 and qualified me in 15th out of 16 for the stepladder. So I was the 15th seed, bowling against the 2nd seed, who was a lefty. And that's never good when you're in a tournament where you're struggling to find ball reaction. You're the 15th seed, right-handed bowler, bowling against the 2nd seed bowler, who is a left-handed bowler. And, well, we started off with a pretty good match, and then I missed a multi-pin spare. And he actually just laid into me and kept striking. He had really good ball reaction with his idle and didn't really flinch. And I flinched and didn't make too many good shots after missing the spare. So that was that, and he ended up shooting 247 to my 201 because I whiffed a spare in the 10th. So my overall review was I just wasn't sharp and didn't make very many quality shots. My spare shooting was extremely poor. But most importantly, I learned what I need to work on over the next couple of weeks heading into the bigger tournaments. My spare shooting certainly needs to improve, and that's where it starts first.
Well, he made it to the top 16, which is good for his first night, but we got knocked out in the first round.
First night back in a week for not practicing.
Yeah.
Not very good. I'm at loss of words right now because of how poorly I feel I performed. Timing was just a little bit off. I mean, anyone that bowls knows that if you take a few days off and you're not sharp, then obviously you don't feel like you're performing at your best. But the timing was just a little bit off, just enough on my spares that when I shot my spares, they were horrific, and they weren't even close. So the marginal games where I made good shots and kept the ball in play and left like easy single pins, like 6 pins, or that's not, I mean, I missed them. Regardless, it's frustrating to bowl on a house shot, make relatively okay shots, and then miss the easy spares that you leave because that's just a given. Overall, it was a fun night, but it's just frustrating when you don't perform as well as you mentally think you should. I felt good this week practicing mentally, but practicing with a ball in your hand is definitely a lot different than practicing without a ball in your hand. So,
But it was a good night, so hopefully we'll be back next month. Hope you enjoyed the recap and came along for a tournament journey. See ya!
thanks for watching, guys.